Hi, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to talk about coaching today because coaching has made a huge difference in my life, and I find that the resources out there aren't the way that I want them. Basically, there's too much hype and hyperbole and not enough substance out there, and I'd like to change that a little bit with this video blog. So I'm going to treat you as an adult, as a smart person. I'm going to explain to you the concepts as I understand them, and I'm going to let you sort of take away and apply it in ways that you see appropriate yourself, and give you more of the foundational building blocks rather than just like huge lists of do this, do that, do this other thing without explaining why it works. So that's my goal here. Just give me the goods, right? That's how I look at things. That's how when I buy a book and it's 300 pages and it's like 25 pages of substance, and like, just get to the point, man. So I'm gonna get to the point. Today, this very inaugural video blog, we're gonna talk about beliefs, because beliefs are one of the most critical foundational pieces of concepts in coaching. And by the way, can I just say, we're sitting here in my home, and behind me is the kitchen over here, and my workspace over there, and if you see some weird wires hanging behind me, that's the baby swing. Just, this is where I live. I hope you enjoy it. I do. So anyway, beliefs are critical. Beliefs are basically anything that you say is a belief. Like, I need some food, I need to eat, or I'm great, or I suck, or I'm never going to do this, or my boss is going to be upset. Like, all these things, anything that anybody really says is a belief. So you might ask, what's the point of labeling it a belief? What's the point of saying this is a belief rather than just these are words? The point is to draw attention to the fact that beliefs aren't necessarily true. The thing is that beliefs control what we do. They control our behavior. If we believe that something is going to make the boss upset, it may make us not do that thing. If we believe that something's going to lead to success, we'll probably do it. If we believe something's going to lead to pain, we'll probably not do it. So what we believe, especially about the future, what we predict about the future, has tremendous consequences for our actions and therefore for our lives. And also, I might add, beliefs change our emotions in the moment. If I believe that something is a sign of something really bad, then I'm going to feel terrible. Even though it turns out, if I believe that, that my wedding ring is gone, or that's more of my wife's concern, but if I believe that it's something really bad, then I'm going to feel bad. And then it turns out that it wasn't gone at all, and it wasn't gone. This bad thing never happened. And so there wasn't any reason to feel bad, but the reason that I felt bad was that I believed something that wasn't true. So as you can see, beliefs are really critically important for anything in our life. So what does that leave us? Well, what we can do whenever there is a belief, whenever someone says something, whenever we say something, try and look at, ask yourself, is this true? Is it actually true that my boss is going to be upset if I leave early today? And you might want to split that into two parts. One is it probable? What's the probability on a percent scale, for example, from 0 to 100%? What's the probability that my boss is going to be upset? And what's the significance of that? Is it significant that he gets upset? And both of these might require you to answer a few more questions. So, is it probable that my boss is going to be upset? Well, I can't tell, right? So it depends on your boss, depends on your history, depends on whether or not you have a good explanation to him or a good reason why that might make him more or less upset. And the second question is it significant? And that again depends on so many things. Why are you leaving early? I mean, is it something that's important to you, like your anniversary, or an important, you've arranged like a special one-on-one with your personal hero from the past 20 years, then, depending on, then it's probably, if that's the case, then it's probably not significant that your boss is going to be upset. Another question to ask yourself is, how much upset is it going to be? Or how bad is that going to feel to me that he's upset? And you might say on a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is that going to be? How upset is he going to be? How bad is that going to be to me? For how long? Is it going to be for like 5 minutes, or for 5 weeks or 5 years that he's going to be upset because I left early today? Or, is it basically, ultimately you want to look at which is more important to me. Like, is it significant is a question that talks about, is it always going to be relative? Is it more significant to go out with this hero of mine for the past 20 years, or that my boss is going to be upset for 5 minutes? You make your pick. So basically, you want to keep digging into both the probability and the significant part until you can actually answer those questions. So, in terms of whether a belief is probable, you can look at, if it's I don't have enough time, then how much time would you need and how much time do you have? Or you can quantify it. The same goes with money, right? We don't have the money to do X. Well, how much money do we need? That's a question that so many people forget to ask, right? How much money would you need to do this thing? Or how much time would you need to start picking up the piano or the guitar? Or like 2 hours a week. All right, do you have 2 hours a week? Could you find 2 hours a week, right? So once you get specific on what you need, it's much easier to determine whether it's actually true or not that you have that you could find it, Or I don't know how to do that. Well, could you find someone who do? So I'm getting ahead of myself here. But another question to ask yourself in order to determine whether or not a belief is probable is, how do you know? How do you know that your boss is going to be upset? And be specific about that. Well, I know because when my colleague, Lisa, left early yesterday, he was really, really upset. So that's how I know. Okay, good, now we know. You can also ask yourself, can I think of a situation where that wasn't the case? Oh yeah, maybe Carl, like 2 weeks ago, he left early and the boss wasn't upset. Okay, interesting. So what was it about that situation 2 weeks ago that made your boss not upset? Because Carl left early. Do you follow? So you can keep asking questions basically until you can answer the question, do I know whether it's probable that this is true or not? And then similarly, in terms of significance, you can ask questions like, so what? So what if the boss is upset? Well, then he might not like me. Okay, so what if he doesn't like you? Well, that's gonna make me feel bad. Okay, so what if you feel bad? How bad for how long? And which is more important to you? So and ultimately that's the question, right? That's sort of the we always end up with this sort of seesaw thing, Would I rather do this thing, meet my hero for the past 20 years tonight, and run the risk of my boss being upset for, let's say, 30 minutes on a scale of to the level 8 on a scale from 1 to 10. So he's pretty upset, but he's pretty upset for half an hour, and I live with that, and I get to see my biggest hero for the past 20 years. Or on the other side, I can choose to avoid upsetting my boss, but then I don't get to see my hero. So which would I rather have, right? This or this? Make up your mind. There's no right answer, right or wrong answer. Sometimes the answer is, well, I'm not willing to run that risk, so I'm not going to have that. I'm going to be completely at peace with that decision. I chose to go with, this solution. And a lot of the times, if it's something that's important to you, obviously you're going to end up doing it, and you're going to be completely at peace with the fact that your boss is going to be upset, and you're going to expect him to be upset, and you're really going to be like, great, but I get to see my hero. So basically, that's it for beliefs. At this point, there's like so much stuff that I could share about beliefs, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to keep it short and focused. So basically, I want you to go out in the world and notice beliefs everywhere. Notice beliefs when you're saying them. Notice when others are saying them. You might want to keep like a list. Maybe have, in this sort of coaching business, if you will, it's pretty common to invite people to have a journal. So some kind of notebook that you write stuff down in. So you might want to get one of those and a pen and carry it around with you and just write down when you notice people, saying beliefs, and then you can start asking these questions just quietly in your mind. You don't necessarily want to go out and pester people with, so how do you know? How interesting. So what? All these questions all the time. But for yourself, just start noticing, in particular, your own beliefs. They can be tricky sometimes to get a hold of, but gradually you'll get there, and I've got some tricks up my sleeve that I can share with you for how to tease out beliefs. But at this point, just ask yourself, when you notice these beliefs, is it probable? Is it significant? Do I know enough to judge whether or not it's probable and significant? And then I'd love to hear in the comments what you found out and how this tool works for you. Personally, I just love the concept of beliefs, because it just puts me in this mindset of questioning what I know in a really positive and productive and constructive, and I want to say directed fashion, and I love that. So that's my gift to you for today. Take care, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for taking the time to see this. Bye.